This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
No.
This
Just
is
stop.
a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. Happy Friday, everyone. Sam Shocker in the hill.
Sam Shocker in the what?
In the hill.
I needed that laugh today. Thank you for that.
You having a bad day?
It was I'll be transparent with our viewers. As a parent, some mornings are easier than others. This was a very difficult morning. I lost my cool and yelled, and I feel terribly guilty and shameful right now. I repaired it. I apologized to the kids, but I feel pretty crappy right now. So I just gotta, but that's honest. You know how it is.
You've been carrying that around all day.
That's okay.
You're really
Do you
beat
think
up
that
about it.
maybe they've forgotten about it during
No,
lunchtime?
I don't think they did.
I think they did.
Okay.
Now, I don't even talk to my kids anymore. I'm like, what are you doing? That's just it. It's like, I swear, yelling is the only way to communicate. If I'm like, hey, buddy, will you grab that?
They
hey,
don't.
buddy. Hey, Lawson.
Yeah.
Hey, will you grab that? And then that's it. I mean, that's just where I'm at. I'm at a 9.5 all the time.
I'm at an 11.
Let's all just
There's
say
an
this.
inequity here.
And let's just all say this. Let's give each of us and ourselves some grace. Everyone in the audience watching, let's give ourselves some grace. We're all human beings.
Amen to that.
We're all human.
Also, I would always cry when my mom lost it on me. And when my dad, I just shut down and stared at him. So, yeah, moms get guilted.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta
They do.
use it. Good cop, bad cop. You're the
Yo.
bad cop this weekend.
You
We got you.
H-E double hockey sticks. Meanwhile, Roosevelt over here is dropping F-bombs, and it doesn't even make...
Right.
feel-
We're supposed to be perfect.
Yeah,
we are,
right.
and I'm human. But
That's right.
listen. Upward and onward.
That's right.
Onward and
That's it.
upward.
That's
Onward
it.
and upward.
Just have some buttery shard. It's Friday. All right, and things will be better. Let's
Thank
get
you.
to it, because if it makes you feel better, me and Erica are going to get into
Yeah,
it
we're
about
good.
this story.
We don't have to worry. We're
Welcome
good.
to
I can't wait. Get
DBL.
your popcorn
Sam
ready.
Asghari has some things to say about his divorce from Britney Spears. In a statement on Instagram, Sam said, quote, "We will hold on to the love and respect we have for each other, and I wish her the best. Always bleep happens." Erica's like
beautifully
moving around. She's getting ready like a boxer in the corner. Meantime, TMZ says, according to their prenup, Sam isn't entitled to spousal support. He can keep the gifts that Britney gave him and his cars, but that's about it. But TMZ is also reporting that Britney gave Sam a black eye while he was sleeping, otherwise known as assault. It also claims Britney cheated on him with a staff member in her house, and there may be video to prove it.
Before you guys get into it, I'm just giving a little context, and then I give it off to you in the ring. Ding, 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 ding. Very quickly, California is no-fault divorces, so it's usually 50-50 unless there's an
Is
infidelity
she California
clause.
or Nevada?
The one is taking place is California. I
Okay.
believe. And unless there's an infidelity clause, which we don't know if it's in their prenup yet. And also TMZ, just so you know, has Britney saying at least one staffer she asked to shoot video of her naked. So there is some dirt here, which makes the prenup a little more malleable.
So it's definitely not in Nevada, right?
Is that what I said?
Is it in Los Angeles or Nevada?
I just want to get a little laugh.
Yeah, we wanted levity.
All right, so me and Erica, since we're opening up and breaking the fourth wall, we're bickering about this all morning.
Tell me.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
it.
I said, like, Britney should come out and say something, because she has such power behind her social media. And Sam, regardless of what he did or didn't do, it seems like what the statements about saying, I'm going to put some dirt out there, he said he didn't say. He goes, I'm going to take what I get and walk away. And Britney fans are just going to dump on him the rest of his life. And I thought it'd be nice if Britney came out and be like, hey, we're going our separate ways. It was a lovely relationship. Give us our privacy at this time. Not, I might buy a horse. That's what our argument is about.
Okay.
And
I like that you're looking at me like I'm the therapist.
No,
but
I'm
go
feeling-
ahead.
no, I'm
I
feeling
like
you
it.
in. I'm feeling
I
you
like
in.
this.
And
Yeah.
I'm team horse. I would be talking about my horse. I'm talking about onwards and upwards. Whoa, so sorry. For starters, we only learned about this, 24 to 36 hours ago. There have been 50 different stories that have come out. Half of them have been debunked. What is she supposed to debunk? Why is he speaking at all? She shouldn't be speaking at all about it. If you start to give people, it's like you give somebody an inch, they're going to take a mile. If she comes out and says, this rumor isn't true, then the next rumor comes out. People are going to expect her to say the same thing. And if she doesn't, they're going to automatically assume that the rumor is true. It's none of our business, really, although we want to be very invested because she's a very public person. But I thought last year we said to leave Britney alone, and now she's not giving us enough information. These are two adults who decided to get married. Clearly, he knew what he was getting into. She apparently knew what she was getting into. And in adult situations where you decide to consciously uncouple, you just make sure, to the best of your ability, that you both leave better than how you were found. And that's all you can ask in these adult situations. I don't know what the big deal is.
All right, team one. Bing, your turn.
Well, I don't think he is better off. He might be more famous, but is fame equal good? I don't think so. I think he's worse off. Look at Kevin Federline. He's a good dad. I understand whatever happened to past. You're going to get your round. But Kevin Federline, he's kind of like the Beck of grunge bands. Everyone's like,
Beck? Beck's amazing.
Or whatever. Put in some Nickelback, nerd.
Okay, Nickelback.
You know what I mean?
Nickelback,
and they have great songs.
Okay.
But you just get that stigma. Nickelback's got a couple jams.
Name
I don't know
one.
about
Okay,
that.
keep going.
I don't know.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is you get this stigma. When you think of Kevin Federline, you're not like, oh, that guy, you're like, oh, what a nerd, Britney's ex. He's going to get this stink on him for the rest of his life.
He is going to get this stink on him.
Yes.
Okay. But it's not
And it doesn't equate
and
to
Sam
truth.
Asghari are not apples to apples. First of all, Kevin Federline got that reputation because of the things that Kevin Federline did when he was with Britney.
But now he's
in
a better
the spotlight.
man, but he'll never get rid of that stink.
That's fine. He can be. I'm glad that he's had growth, but let's not act like Kevin Federline didn't contribute to the things that he still has that stink on him. He rolled in the mud. We're talking about this guy does not have any children with Britney. This is not the same situation. And just because, like, if you want, this is a. Y'all, it's interesting that she had the residency and everything in Vegas because it was a gamble. And then when people lose in these gambles, that it's a zero-sum game, apparently, you lose and now you want to play victim? It's like, no.
So you got to live with that the rest of your life? Why would anyone?
It's not her responsibility to continue to make him whole. It's his responsibility to make him whole. It's her responsibility to make sure that she's not putting him in a situation where he's like, now he's like destitute and there's all these things he has to go into hiding. The rest of it is his responsibility. He's a grown-ass man.
So why wouldn't I say that about hiring an ex-con?
That's not the same
Why
thing.
not? You did something 20 years ago like Kevin Federline, so that stinks on you?
Of the heart. We're not talking about equal opportunity employment. There is no umbrella that protects the heart. The heart is always going to be a risk. So the idea that someone would walk away from a marriage or a long-term relationship and 10 years later blame their ex who they benefited from.
First of all, he was abused allegedly. Okay. Second of all, you have a responsibility when you're a Beyonce and when you're whoever has 100 million followers. You can't just let crazy people trash your ex for the rest of their life because you might be out of the situation. You're rolling your eyes, Erica. I have 250,000 followers, not 100 million, and I get it from fake things. Triple, whatever that is.
I'm a woman who has gone through a divorce, so it's not like I don't have experience understanding
but you're not
what happens.
divorcing someone with 100 million followers.
But it doesn't. Maybe it was my 100 million. Maybe it was their 100 million.
Wouldn't you call off the dogs if it was your 100 million?
I'm telling you from experience, there's no way to call off the dogs. People are committed to understanding what they want to believe and understand. If you want to spend the rest of your life, which I quite honestly could have, defending myself against Looney Tunes who think that they know my life better than I know my own life, that's all the hell I'd be doing. No, I'm not giving anybody an inch because you don't deserve it. Nothing about what you say or think or do about me affects me, my livelihood, my mortgage, my marriage, or anything that I have
That's
coming.
not true, Erica, because you say it on this show. You say, hey, I read some comments. I don't like whatever people think about me. You're addressing those. Maybe subconsciously, but you're addressing those.
Yes, because they're being sent to me as a part of my job.
There you go.
That's
so
a
imagine
part of my
100
job.
million.
I don't do that at home. If I'm not on the clock, I'm not doing that. Trust me, I'm in school.
But it affects you, is what I'm saying. It affects you.
No, it doesn't affect me. Yes, it does. It betters my life. You know why? Because I get paid ever since I was 19 years old for my opinion.
And no offense,
which is a blessing.
This show is nothing compared to the fame Britney Spears has. So imagine the downfall Sam Asghari has to live with the rest of his life. If it affects you in the tiniest way.
No, Jeff. You
Are you
have
guys
to
understanding
take,
this
you
at
have
all?
to take the good with the bad.
Can I be the therapist
Yes.
here? Okay, so I actually think you're both right, and I know that's an unpopular statement. I think Erica's in a place where she's really secure. I'm not there yet. I would want Mark to call off the dogs. You loved me at one point. I hope you still love me as a friend. We've got kids. I know they don't. I need you to call off your 100 million dogs. However, Erica's saying, so I'm with you. I actually agree with you. Erica's statement is more of the ideal, if we could all get there as a society, because she's saying, if you give your followers a little bit, first of all, they don't care. They're going to run with it. And then you're stuck. Every single time a new scenario comes, they're going to expect you to lend your opinion and guide them. And then it's a slippery slope. So I understand your point of view, but I would want someone to call off the dogs for me. I don't think it's going to give me the result that I hope for, because you got to be whole from within.
And now you're both in.
But I still would want Mark to call off the dogs.
I kind of agree with Erica.
I kind of more agree with Jeff.
And I see
but I
both
need
of
to work on that with my therapist.
But as someone who comes from somewhat of a legal background in terms of my father knowing all this stuff, the less you say about the situation, really, the much
But aren't you
better
supposed to
are.
protect him if you love him? If you don't love him, if he did something wrong, I get it.
But if you're divorcing, your responsibility isn't for that.
If I once loved that person, I'm going to call off the dogs.
But what if protecting is not?
We got
saying
listen.
anything?
We've
True.
I really want to hear Tori's opinion, but we got to go. All right, we'll be right back.
I didn't say a word.
Wow. So I agree more with Jeff, but I do know that for me, I see Erica's point of view is probably the most realistic.
And more practical.
Erica's is more practical and realistic, but I
And
agree
safer.
with Jeff.
I
would
understand. I know what you
expect my partner
To back you up.
to back me up and call off all these people who don't know our situation,
Right,
who are
right.
forever going to condemn
Right.
me when they don't know the context. I would expect Mark to do
You
that.
know who did that?
However, I don't think it's going to result
It won't.
in
They're
a
condemning her. They're saying that she gave him a black eye. What is she supposed to say?
I don't know her followers.
What do
Yeah, what she
y'all want
did,
to
right.
say? What do you want her to say?
I
Right,
just want
especially
her-
right now.
I would want her to say, if that were my partner, to say, listen, there's a lot of context here that you all don't know about. If she still loves this person as a friend, I still have love for Sam. We're going our separate ways. I ask you to respect him because you don't know all the details.
Just like Haley Baldwin, can I say this? Haley Baldwin and Selena Gomez. Oh, I can't? I'm just kidding. Oh, when Haley Baldwin was getting death threats after death threats after death threats because she's married to Justin Bieber,
Right.
and they're all Selena Gomez's army, Selena herself came
But
out.
did it really change things? That's Erica's point. I don't think it did. It's the
And
same
it wasn't
thing with
right
Rachel.
away because you don't even know what you're combating.
Right.
This story has changed 11 times in
am
the past
so into
36
this
hours
topic.
since
She's right,
it broke.
because there's a whole
so
thing
you're
with-
going to
yeah.
start with the first rumor that we already know.
You're saying
is
get
being
out of there and go with the
confirmed?
horse.
Because
Don't
you're not
say
going to satisfy
anything.
anybody. Look at the Rachel Raquel thing with Bethany Frankel. I personally felt bad for Rachel, but then I go on social media.
Didn't work.
Now they're all attacking Bethany. I think you're damned if you do, you're damned
So
if you
shut
don't.
up and talk about the horse.
You are.
And talk about the horse.
Ideally, I would want that. However, I think Erica's practical and she understands that you're just going to spin your wheels.
And it's also legally smarter, Erica's.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Some housewife shade is coming to light in Atlanta. Guess who's Usher's new video vixen? And Meg Thee Stallion has a message for her haters in this week's What Erica's Watching. First, Atlanta housewife Kandi Burruss is shutting down fans who want her to have a sit-down with former housewife Phaedra Parks. Well, if you're a Bravo-holic like me, you know just why. Now, during season 9 of the Atlanta reunion, Phaedra was called out for spreading some pretty serious rumors about Kandi, wanting to take advantage of Portia.
Now all of a sudden you think I owe her a conversation for what?
But here's where the plot thickens. During a recent interview, Kandi also revealed that she thinks that Phaedra also attempted to block her and the old lady gang from getting their liquor license, which delayed their restaurant opening. Kandi, girl, you might want to consider doing the sit-down interview. Secure the bag and expose all the lies. The lies! The lies! It's been more than a month since Keke Palmer's baby daddy, Darius Jackson, put his foot all the way in his mouth and shamed Keke for looking too sexy at Usher's show in Vegas. Well, since then, Keke and Darius have unfollowed each other on social media and have not been pictured together, like, at all. While on the flip side, Keke's been recently spotted with Usher. Check out this new music video for Boyfriend.
Somebody said that your boyfriend is looking for me. And that's cool, yeah. Well, you should know I'm pretty easy to find. Just look for me wherever he sees you.
How's that for a Keke? Okay. And finally, rapper Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison because of his role in the 2020 assault against Megan Thee Stallion. And she has a message for her haters. It's 2 words and straight to the point. And during a recent performance, she followed this by saying, "Nothing that her haters said about this has broken her. And you will not break our girl's soul, okay? You just won't." Share with me anything that catches your eye by using the hashtag DBL Erica Watch. We'll be right back.
As hospitalizations from COVID-19 tick up this summer, people are looking for ways to treat it if they do test positive. Since the start of the pandemic, there's been chatter that anti-parasitic drug ivermectin could be used to treat the virus. Celebrities and influencers claiming the drug made them feel better, quicker. However, recently Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson claimed the Food and Drug Administration quietly approved the use of ivermectin to treat COVID-19. So, is that true? Let's verify. Our sources are the Food and Drug Administration, the National Institutes of Health, and a lawsuit against federal health agencies that was brought forward by a group of doctors. The Food and Drug Administration maintains a list of FDA-approved COVID-19 therapeutic treatments on its website. There are 4 drugs on that list. Ivermectin isn't one of them. The list was last updated in May, so for good measure, we've reached out to the FDA to see if maybe ivermectin was recently added. An FDA spokesperson told us it wasn't. So we can verify that the FDA did not approve the use of ivermectin to treat COVID-19. According to the National Institutes of Health, ivermectin is only FDA approved for humans to treat infections caused by some parasitic worms and head lice, and skin conditions like rosacea. So where'd the false claim come from? It appears to be a misinterpretation of a recent article published on the Epoch Times about a lawsuit filed against federal health agencies, including the FDA, by a group of doctors who prescribed ivermectin to COVID patients. The Epoch Times reported that during a hearing for the case, a lawyer representing the FDA said the FDA explicitly recognizes that doctors do have the authority to prescribe ivermectin to treat COVID. But according to court documents, the FDA's lawyer never said ivermectin is approved to treat COVID, nor did they say that doctors should be prescribing it for that purpose. They just acknowledged the doctor's rights to prescribe medicines off-label. With your Verify, I'm Ariante Till.
Welcome back. Talking about your mental health struggles can feel daunting and isolating, and that's why Mayim Bialik started a podcast to open up the conversation around it. Earlier, we chatted with her all about it. Check it out.
Please welcome back to the show, Mayim Bialik.
Hey there. Oh, man, do I love you. Your podcast, Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, breaks the stigma around talking about mental health and other situations. I wanted to ask you, because I did you struggle in silence before having this platform? And you've had this platform for a long time.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, I think for those of us who grow up in unusual situations, whatever that looks like, for those of us who, learn about terms like intergenerational trauma or,
Yeah.
for those of us who, might be super feelers. Like we feel things differently or more intensely. For many of us, I laughed because like I've never do anything in silence, but I will say that in this arena, I definitely had an experience of a lot of years of like, why am I experiencing things differently? Why do I feel so deeply? Why does everything feel like it hurts more than it should? So it was really kind of, once I got into therapy and, kind of spent a lot of my 20s, I was out of the limelight, which I think was a good place for me to do that exploring. But, being back in the limelight and being a mom, like all these things I think kept sort of cumulatively adding up. And it was really at the start of COVID that my partner, Jonathan Cohen, and I decided to start a podcast. I had never thought of starting a podcast, but I felt like, gosh, my mental health sure took an extra special dive with all of that anxiety and fear and uncertainty at the start of COVID. And that's why we started My MBLX Breakdown.
Yeah, I think it's super important because a lot of people have these stigmas like they don't want to talk about it. So thanks for talking about it. And your podcast also breaks down myths and misconceptions around mental health. What is the most common misunderstanding, would you say?
I think everyone has different things that will resonate with them. But one thing I think that I often hear is like, I can figure it out on my own. I think there are a lot of limitations historically. I think there are a lot of systemic reasons in the system that people do not believe that they can get help. And one of the things that we talk about a lot is, access to mental health is a human right. It should have nothing to do with the color of your skin, the amount of money in your bank account, what kind of insurance you have, if you have insurance. So that was sort of our notion, is like, we believe that people having a general vocabulary for what mental health is, meaning what's the difference between anxiety and panic?
Yeah.
Or what is depression? When do you need help? But the general notion that we should be able to figure things out on our own, or that, it's yucky to talk to other people about your dirty laundry, those are very old cultural things that are in place so that we don't kind of rock the boat. And I think especially for women, for underserved populations, those messages are really, really loud. And so really one of the main things we wanted to do was just put it all out there. We have, celebrities on who are willing to talk about their mental health challenges, and we have specialists who have dedicated their lives, to exploring these things and making it accessible. Because like I said, it's a human right to know what your mental health challenges are and how to make them better, often without expensive interventions. It's just, we've only been told, like, you need an expensive psychiatrist or you need medication, and that's not the only two options.
Yeah, I appreciate you acknowledging the barrier of entry is vast when it comes to the accessibility of mental health help. And I want to talk about this really quickly. We have about 30 seconds. On one episode, you said that at times you feel useless, irrelevant, and worthless. How has fame brought some of those feelings on?
Oh my gosh, great question. I'll try and answer as quickly as I can. We do episodes called Ask My Anything on My MBLX Breakdown. And so this is one of the questions, like, I feel really useless. Do you know what this feels like? And people were really surprised that my answer was yes. I think that, feeling imposter syndrome, feeling less than, always feeling competitive with yourself, even if no one else is telling you to be. Those are features of a personality that have nothing to do with how many Emmys you've been nominated for, or how famous you are, or how much money you have, or how pretty other people tell you are, or how amazing people tell you are. That's, I think, a really perfect example of the depth and complexity of our internal world, our psychological makeup, and who we are, where we come from, has really very little to do with the things that our culture may decide are valuable.
Ooh. Wow, so true. So true. Mayim, thank you so much for joining us today. DBL Nation, you can listen to Mayim's podcast, My MBLX Breakdown, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again. We appreciate you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Nice to see you.
Bye.
Summertime is not only a great time for kids to sleep in, but also parents if they can. Even though it's nice to catch up on those extra Z's, is it better to get your kids back into the school wake-up schedule before school starts? Let's verify. Our sources, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, Dr. Brian Chen, sleep specialist for the Cleveland Clinic, and Dr. John White, chief medical officer for WebMD. Soon, those alarm clocks will be ringing for school children. And Dr. Chen says the sooner you turn them back earlier, the easier the transition.
So it's important to start that transition early so that there's not a big jump whenever you get back to going to school, and there's not going to be that whiplash where you're kind of real tired.
Dr. White agrees and suggests kids go to bed 15 minutes earlier every day or every other day to make the adjustment.
Wake up time, shifting that 15 minutes earlier as well, every couple of days. And that includes on the weekends.
The American Academy of Sleep Medicine says preschoolers require 10 to 13 hours of sleep. Kids ages 6 to 12 require 9 to 12 hours of sleep, and teens require 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Dr. White says if you don't gradually adjust the kids' wake-up schedule, that first day of school will be a shock to their system.
Kids aren't going to be able to wake up on time. You're going to be rushed and hectic in the morning, and nobody wants that. And then they may have trouble concentrating that first week or two in class.
So we can verify that, yes, it is better to get your kids back into the school wake-up schedule before school starts. That way they are set up for success in getting adequate sleep when it counts. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Donald Trump's indictment in Georgia means he now has to turn himself in to local authorities for booking. The last 3 times he was indicted, the authorities didn't take mugshots. Now, the sheriff in Fulton County says this time will be different.
We are following our normal practices. And so it doesn't matter your status. We have mugshots ready for you.
But does Georgia state law require a mugshot be taken? Let's verify. Our sources are the Georgia State Code and the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Title 35, Chapter 3 of the Georgia State Code says that for all felonies and some misdemeanors, law enforcement shall obtain full face and profile photographs of the person under arrest. There are 2 exceptions to that requirement. 1, if the arresting authorities don't have a camera available, and 2, if full face and profile pictures taken within the year are already on file. This requirement isn't the case everywhere. For instance, New York State, where Trump's first indictment took place, doesn't mandate mugshots. And while arresting authorities in Trump's 2 federal indictments haven't publicly said why they didn't take mugshots, they may have simply been deemed unnecessary, given there are plenty of photos of Trump on file. But we can verify in Georgia, the law calls for mugshots to be taken. And the sheriff's office says their current plan is to follow that protocol for Trump and his associates. But the mugshot has not yet been taken. So if you've already seen pictures like this one online, they're fake, likely made with AI. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Welcome back. So everybody enjoying the Britney talk around here on Friday, huh?
Hey, and you know what's funny is I went to the easy one where I was like, oh man, this situation's getting toxic. And everyone went, boo, just like now. With the boo.
All right, well.
Oh no. Really deflated the air on that one. Oh my God.
On that note,
So the whole-
let's go out for happy hour.
Yay, am I invited?
Tori already started drinking.
No, this is coffee.
What's in that cup?
It's spiked with a little fun,
No.
you know?
Wow.
No.
All right, bye.